Suzhou, the Venice of the East. This was a highlight of my recent TripADeal trip to China. Come and join me on this video to find out why I liked it and why it's got this nickname. Welcome to Travel with Zan. The train station is so modern. I was just astounded by these train stations in China. They're more like airports. So there's lots of places to get food at the train station, and we did do that, but you can get food on the train, and you can also order food to be delivered to the train, so it gets delivered to the next station and brought to your seat. So yeah, like Uber Eats on the train, which was just amazing. So there are over 20 pairs of trains a day, mostly the high-speed bullet type, and they take from 4 to 11 hours to travel the 1,200 kilometers from Beijing to Suzhou. Ours took 6 hours, so it was, I guess, somewhere in the middle. We left just before 5 p.m. and we got into Suzhou at 10:47 p.m. So it was pretty late at night, so it was well after 11 o'clock, closer to midnight by the time we got to our room. So the high-speed bullet train took us through some absolutely amazing, diverse countryside. Really enjoyed the trip. And it goes, and as for speeds, the highest speed we saw was 342 kilometers an hour. Usually it was sort of around about 310-ish. I do believe they can go a little bit faster, but I think we did see a pretty good speed. The highest I got on video was 341, but there we go. That was pretty amazing. So, and I believe it costs between 110 and 470 Australian dollars to travel on the bullet train. It is cheaper. There is a slower train that takes, I think, 12 hours or so, and that is cheaper, but the bullet trains, that's the price. Obviously, this was all included in our TripADeal trip. So we did have this amazing hotel room. Like, it was probably the only really 5-star hotel that we did actually stay in. I'm not even sure it was quite 5-star, but it was really nice. And obviously we didn't get to enjoy it. We just got in and all we wanted to do was have a quick shower and sleep. So they had this beautiful bathtub and everything, which we never got to use because we had to be out again early the next morning. So yeah, it was a very quick stop. But the next morning we had breakfast. As usual, amazing buffet breakfast. Everything you can imagine, Chinese food, Western food, full English breakfast, fruit, cereals, just everything. There is nothing like a Chinese hotel buffet breakfast as far as I'm concerned. Suzhou is located in the southern Jiangsu province in the center of the Yangtze Delta and is divided by the Beijing-Guangzhou Grand Canal from north to south. So this canal is what gives it its name of the Venice of the Orient or the Venice of the East. So 42% of the land is covered by water, and it's just stunning and very, I guess, Venice-like. So it's a very old city. It was built in 514 BC. So Lingering Gardens is one of the most famous gardens in China, of which they do have quite a lot of these gardens, and it's a typical king-style garden, and it's UNESCO World Heritage listed. It was first built in 1593, but it's changed hands several times, and each of the owners have added their own little touch to the gardens. One of the owners, Li Shu, was a calligraphy lover, and he had it during the Qing dynasty, and he created all these beautiful carved sides to the corridors of the buildings, and he collected all these unusual stones that you can see around here. So there's like the famous rockery and just other amazing little stones, well, not little, amazing great big stones around the garden. And there's also the halls, and these have some amazing furniture and decorations to them, so they're really interesting as well. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means a lot to me. So as you can see, the gardens were just stunning. I just really loved all these gardens in China, and just can't believe that people actually used to live somewhere like this, that this could have been your home. Yeah, definitely recommend going and visiting some of the gardens, including these ones. So the Grand Canal cruise was an optional extra. It was 220 Chinese yuan on top of what we'd paid, which is around 46 Australian dollars. So it's quite expensive, and I'm sure you could get it a lot cheaper if you just went up to one of the places. I'm sure you could get it for probably half that price. But because of the short amount of time that we were there, the only way really to do it was through TripADeal, and I think it was worth it. It was really beautiful, and yeah, it really made you realize, you know, what the canals were like and why they call it the Venice of the East.
So he ordered some local people to dredge this place and had a street built.
Yeah, so there was commentary the whole time from the guide, and we really enjoyed traveling along the canals. I say, it really did make you see why it was called the Venice of the East. Shangtang Street is the ancient riverside pedestrian road that extends for around 2.2 miles, and it is called the first street in Suzhou. It's nearly 1200 years old, and it's representative of a lot of the little local alleyways and streets. So we wandered around the shops and had a look at Suzhou for a little while. We only had about 2 hours, I think it was, here. So a group of us went and had lunch and included this local dish, squirrel fish. So the fish is deep fried and carved and cross-hatched to fan out like a squirrel's tail and coated in sweet and sour sauce. Amazing looking, and it tasted great as well. After that, on our way to Shanghai, we went to the silk spinning factory. So this was interesting. So part of the TripADeal is that you have to go to these sort of local demonstrations and things where they try to sell you things. The silk spinning factory was the only one that actually kind of bothered me a bit. The first part, where you go through like sort of the museum type thing, was super interesting, and I really enjoyed that. But then you went into a room where they were trying to sell you the bedding, and like the door was closed, so you were kind of like locked in there, and it was really expensive and nothing that I wanted. One thing I did do was they were selling these pillows that they said were silk pillows, like the actual stuffing of the pillow was silk. And I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. So I did use Google Translate on the tag on it and found out that it wasn't really silk. It was sort of offcuts and stuff, and like man-made kind of silk. And so we didn't buy those. And we actually told somebody else who was considering buying them, so I don't think we were very popular with the people there. But yeah, so that was the only place where I actually felt the hard sell was kind of a hard sell, and it was kind of hard to get out. And then after the whole bedding thing, then you go out and there is a big like showroom where you can buy like silk scarves and stuff. They were reasonably priced, sort of around 50 Australian dollars. So not too bad. The quality seemed okay. I actually got a couple of little gifts there, so that wasn't too bad. It would have been cheaper in the markets, but you know, it wasn't exceedingly expensive, so it wasn't too bad. But so I didn't really enjoy the silk factory thing just because of the hard sell part of it. So after the factory, we got on the bus and we drove 2 hours to Shanghai, our final stop on the tour. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please check out some of my other China videos. I'll put the playlist up above. Please like and subscribe if you did. It really helps my channel grow. Until next time, bye!